Very good evening to all of you. A very warm welcome to this event. I think this is even getting bigger and bigger about the journey for the data centers in the cloud in industry, the challenges which we face in day-to-day environments, the challenges, the pain areas. Being as a customer, you know that how your entire organization gets quite complex scenarios day-to-day operation-wise. And as AI is coming in a way in nowadays, it seems that our challenges even becoming more complex, not only from the perspective of how we are taking those scenarios only at the level of an applications, but also from the compute, storage, network, and then other application scenarios where most of the challenges need to be addressed. So when we say that our digital transformation of the infrastructure to be revamped in our customer scenarios or the customer use cases, and as in India, we are building up the large mega scale projects. So I believe that you all have certain questions, certain paradigm shifts, which is taking in scalable, then the security, then the modular-based architecture as building an entire stack for that. So I wish all the very best of luck to the Polystack team, Pawan and Ankur. Then whatsoever stack along with their partners they have built it up. We'll give you many more reasons to address those sort of challenges. But what I believe that my AI market trends for that. So either you talk about the Grok, the ChatGPTs, or the DeepSeeks, they are giving day by day different challenges for your applications. The entire data sets or the flows which has been provided, it also gives another set that any data center, the security operations center, the logs, where they are going to have the relative information of the data, what you are going to do with that. That the AI had to be formulated on those particular data sets itself. So now the problem comes over that how you can utilize those particular use cases in your day-to-day operations. It's not about just doing an application, but at the size of that is the computation, there's the networking infrastructure, and along with that there are different zones which you have devised on that part. It's going to be data exclusive without any doubt. But when we look at the digital transformation for any of an organization, it's a different core pillars which you need to address. This is what I was just talking about. Now, you have to have a compute power that the maximize of a GPUs to be produced for such a huge volume of data which need to be revised in every single format. The data storage management, the data lakes, like the many organizations or any of an RFPs, where you look at certain use cases where the different agencies' data had to be retracted, to be ingest, to refine it, to make a decision for that. Like the many of them now, the collaborative projects which has been taken in the last 3 to 4 years. Connectivity and networking, which is an essential part, and I believe that coming back with this entire stack for the solutions, that networking is going to make a proper connectivity. That many of the times we lost that importance or any of the justice towards that how this connectivity has been ensured. So whether it is more like making a loop, congestion, or any this location of those particular networking components, that also makes a major component part for entire infrastructure. Cybersecurity, day by day, we are talking about cybersecurity in a bigger way, and many of the times we look only from the cybersecurity aspects rather than there are other portions like as a compute storage with the networking as well as the data storage. So cybersecurity is just only a pillar. It should not be the major concept for that. So wherever you have to look at the area of cybersecurity, it has to maintain and manage the data storage management and the component of the two have to be placed. Many of the times we emphasize that the cybersecurity will be 30 to 35% of the total project value. But our 90% of our focus is coming on the cybersecurity rather than focusing towards the compute and storage along with the networking one. Many of the times that the breaches, whatever are happening, that's also just because of the very minute configuration issues that the networking component is. Recent breaches, you all are aware of that how these things had happened. Now, finally, that all these things are coming up, that the entire infrastructure wants to work on that part. It comes on to the regulatory compliances for it. And we know that we all work on to the certain tick marks, certain check marks, that these particular compliances we have fulfilled, and this is what exactly my entire AI digital infrastructure for it. But technically, if you look at it, it's all the pillars. You have to integrate all together. This is what the entire stacking which need to be looked at from the industry perspective. You must have to have the best of the compute storage. You must have to have the best of the data governance model. You must have the best of the networking compatibility as well as integration. And then finally the cybersecurity, which comes as a security framework for that. I believe that everybody, one of you knows that is implementing every part of it. Now coming on to the AI workloads, where we look at that it's just only by certain AI applications, certain storage, calculations, I don't know that how many of us is looking at certain aspects where the calculations or the computation has been done on the GPUs or TPUs and the FPUs, GPUs as well. That how the length the length of the certain connectivity what we are looking at it. The SOCs, the NOC, the compliances, the regulations, they are giving us a certain mandates that we must have to have a SOC, we must have to have a NOC, that we look at the certain monitoring for the entire computation. But how much of the data is getting generated out of it, and what is exactly the AI is going to utilize for it? India is a big market. Entire world is looking at us, that what kind of a capacity of a data we are going to hold it. Definitely we are going to have our own India AI. Could it be any of a name for that? But when we look at our model or our data, nobody power and cooling will be a part of it. Now, when the cloud and this edge scenario is need to be done, so I believe that I have to share that one of our use cases that we were the edge while we were just designing an RFP. So the edge devices and the edge locations and a few of the resources or the few of the components were not at all available at that point in time, which were appropriate for the costing size along with the computational perspective. So now, just after that couple of years later, I can say, at this point in time, I can say that better edge devices are available, and I believe this Polystack can give you better edge server locations or server kind of solutions for any of the requirements of yours. Edge scenario, where you can use it for the either it could be your smart cities, healthcare, as well as industrial IoTs. Either it could be like as utilities of the power sector, which needed to act at certain locations where the edge data center, the entire physical infrastructure cannot be deployed by that time. So this time we can look at the better way to address that. The data infrastructure, I still remember that one of very famous quote from one of my ex-colleagues sitting right now in the panel as well. This entire perspective, we are doing it for the data security. It's only the data. The data is there for which I have to just make the entire cybersecurity, all the applications, all the tools, all the infrastructure, we have to deploy it only for data. So what we are doing with data, because the data is going to amalgamate all the correlations, ingestion to make it that the AI to be active on that part. Now, the network infrastructure, we are going to right now onto the 5G. Very soon we are going to work on the development of the 6G infrastructure as well. I think that the fiber and the next gen brands are also coming in our part for that. There's a lot of that kind of projects where almost like every single state is going to be fiber oriented, and then the different states will have their own network operation centers. So huge AI modeling as well as the LLMs are going to be implemented. I believe that this will create another level of the data which is going to be hosted in our applications. Cybersecurity, the legacy structures, the architectures are over the time, like perimeter zones, the demilitarized zones, the militarized zones, management zones, security zones. Now there is a zero trust architectures. We have to believe on the new level of architectures, the security frameworks, what we have to devise it. And I believe that all of you must be aware of that how to design, how to deploy, because the entire world is moving towards those architectures to secure their endpoints. Regulatory and ethical considerations, that whatsoever the compliances, we have to believe it, that the AI modeling, that whatsoever the AI compliances are there, whether it's a standard of 42,000 of ISO or any other standard perspective, your entire infrastructure has to be secure in such a way. Sustainability, what we look at that though we are deploying different devices, the components, there are different tools altogether, but it has to be a carbon footprints to be maintained appropriately. Now, looking at the entire perspective, that we have to look for the sustainability for the infrastructure in an AI scenarios. There are as much as the competition would be, as well as the carbon footprint, as well as the different tools are there. Whether we are looking at the environment on that side, that also will be a part of it. The case studies, multiple case studies are there. We can discuss in length for that, either into the government sector. So one of a case, if I'll take it as that the India's Digital India plus AI initiative, that the different use cases, that how this entire computational and then edge with the compute, with the storage, with the network infrastructure to be deployed appropriately. As I just mentioned earlier, there was one of a RFP where the more than 32 agencies' data need to be collaborated with that particular center, and then half of them to be fetched, and half of them had to be directly based onto the incremental to be placed in. So just see that the huge volume which need to be placed into your data lakes and then to repromite onto the different modes of appropriation for it. Now, there are, like as a BharatNet is there, the data frameworks on that particular part. So the volume of data, what we are going to get it from AI scenario. For the banking and the manufacturing unit, if I'll say that the case 1 and the case 2 for it, so one of an manufacturing unit wanted to have their ISO 27001, but with the implementation of an AI scenario, so the huge data which they wanted to have it from their industrial IoT as well as a OT, operational technology on that part. So, sorry. So in that way, that the different applications, the computation, the calculations, the infrastructure, the networking algorithms, that also have played a vital role in that way. So for roadmap for AI-ready digital infrastructure, I believe it should be a phase-wise maturity model, and we all are the stakeholders, be it into the consultants, the OEMs, the partner, the customer, or any of a vendor itself. It's all our responsibility to make it as a secure one. It's not only a one single individual's responsibility. Let's build it up, this particular nation, up to that level where the AI is going to make an impact for the entire society. Investment priorities, from both the perspective, from all the stakeholders, be it into the customer, with the partner, with each and every individual on that. Now, so my conclusion and call to action for this summary is, let's build up the foundational readiness for AI, the basics one, that what are the basic components required to run any of an infrastructure, and then finally embrace your innovation, policy, and collaboration once this entire structure will be a part of it. And finally, AI is only as strong as the infrastructure beneath it. So in my belief, that this entire stack, the combination of a compute, storage, network, security, orchestration, with all the particular vendors, very best of luck, and looking forward to make a secure future for the next generation as well. Thank you so much.